Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of This Just In Radio. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. Today, we're broadcasting live from Tampa, Florida, and the Moffitt Cancer Center. We were graciously invited to join the Cancer Act's leadership meeting and have several of their leaders joining the show to launch our new Cancer Innovation Series. Many thanks to my good friends, Dr. Kamal Jethwani and Dr. Nanish Parikh, for the hospitality in making this on-site location series happen. This Cancer Innovation Series was initially derived from a conversation last October at the health conference in Las Vegas, where I became very optimistic about the strides in cancer care, innovation, and patient outcomes. As we were outlining these episodes, it became even more obvious why we need to tell these encouraging stories about innovation, survivorship, and curing cancer. I hope all of you find these episodes as enlightening and encouraging as me, and I expect to host a follow-on series later this spring, so stay tuned. Matthew, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So from your perspective, what recent advances and innovations in cancer are you most encouraged by, and why is it meaningful?
Yeah, as a non-clinician, I'm going to do my best to sort of speak a little bit like them because I'm constantly around it. But I think it's really at a broad level, precision-based medicine and molecular therapy. So things like CAR T, where we're really using targeted therapies. We're shifting away from broad chemotherapy treatments that really sometimes might affect or even damage parts of the body that we don't intend to, but it's what we're trying to do to achieve the results of defeating the cancer. And this amazing research and results that our researchers are doing in buildings like we are in now are producing these therapies that really allow us to target. I almost equate it in the radiation therapy world like proton.
Right.
Proton specifically targets a tumor.
Absolutely.
Versus our Linacs doing broad radiation therapies. So that's how I view really the evolution of these molecular therapies and precision-based medicine therapies that are just now starting to come about. Yeah. Excellent.
So, thinking about, where we've talked a lot about the expertise that Moffitt has in some of these areas. I think you just made me think of this. What do you love about what your role, but also what Moffitt is achieving? Before we go on to the next question, because you just made me think of that question.
Well, so I look at myself as sort of the blue collar professional because there's so many amazingly smart, genius people that really pursue a Moffitt as their employer because of the amazing things that we're allowed to do and can do, right? So the resources that we provide those people to produce those therapies and do that research. So when I say I'm a blue collar, I'm a blocking and tackling administrator.
Yep.
So for example, we're building a lot of ambulatory campuses, and the whole point of this is to bring that amazing clinical care and research closer to where patients and
critical
families
to their
live,
success.
right? Yeah, and so when I first started at Moffitt 8 years ago, the CEO at the time asked me as part of a strategic plan that we were building what I thought of one of the pillars at the time, which was expanding our brand. And I shared with him my thoughts, and I said, if we really feel like we're one of the best cancer centers in the world, and we are,
right,
then we need to be further out than just this campus where we are now. Right. And so since that time, we've built almost 250,000 square feet of ambulatory space, in addition to the new hospital that we have, the solid tumor hospital.
Yep.
But what that's done most excitingly is it's brought everything that we can do well within miles of where patients live. One of our campuses that we just opened in January of last year, so it's right at a year old, we approximated eliminates about an hour and a half to 2 hours of driving time for people that live south of the Ruskin area, which is in the South Hillsborough area of our market. Yep. So that alone, the satisfaction that comes alongside that, because there's so much stress and anxiety that is associated with the disease, in addition to all the health impacts, et cetera, that for us to deliver care, provide us a place for infusions and radiation, and seeing their physician, having their blood drawn, those things closer to where they live.
Right.
What a slam dunk win.
That's fantastic. I think this dovetails into my next question very well then. What are you currently working on that you're most passionate about, and how does it improve cancer care or outcomes? And you kind of just answered it in a way.
Well, I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say that,
Yeah.
right? So it's healthcare, whether you're in geriatrics, pediatrics, which is, I've done those things,
Right.
and then cancer care, it's all about access.
Right.
I mean, we all know that,
Right, absolutely.
right? We're patients.
Yes.
And a classic phrase in healthcare is that the demand is overwhelming the supply. And that's probably just going to get harder as we get older.
Absolutely.
Less and less people are going into med school. They're projecting a nursing shortage into the future as well. So
Absolutely.
how do we create access that is outside the box? So for example, we started a virtual care service in 2018. Many places have, so we're not like
Right.
alone in that. But I think where we are alone is we'll do over 70,000 visits this year in virtual care. And I think that the reality of that is we do very acute care at a Moffitt, right?
Right.
And so it's not easy stuff always that we're doing virtually, but we've accomplished that. And again, it's fantastic access,
Right.
instant access, easy access for our patients and their families. And that's all in addition to what I've talked about, and that's building these campuses closer to where people
No, very
live.
impressive. And I think this, again, dovetails. This is all great because it dovetails into my next question.
Yep.
What strategic role does your new Spiros Outpatient Center play in Moffitt's broader approach to cancer care, but then also what do you hope it achieves in the coming years?
Yeah, so it's going to check the standard box of, again, bringing those services, right, closer to where people live, providing a location that's easier to get to. But I think when you think of Spiros more broadly, coming from the Orlando area and thinking of the Lake Nona
Yes.
Medical
Yeah.
Campus, which I think is a model that we can at least compare it to
Yes.
from a vision standpoint, it's being able to say to these companies around the world, these innovation companies around the world, like, come and call Tampa home.
Right.
Come and work with us.
Yeah.
We want to be the smallest tenant on that campus.
Right.
We want everyone else, think about all these healthcare innovation companies and technology companies in the space that we want them to say, come call Spiros home so that we can work together to create those therapies, create those innovations, partner to bring those advanced methods of care to the patients and their families. So that's, in a broad way, it's broad, but in a broad way, that's where I see the campus in 5, 10, 15 years.
That's
from
fantastic. No, and I think even in Dr. Jithwani's show yesterday, an episode, we talked about how, survivability does have a lot to do with access.
Right.
And getting the right care at the right time.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what you're doing on a daily basis. So
Prevention,
Yeah,
right?
got it.
We're just really starting to talk about the prevention space. Not that it's always been a part of our mission, but I think it's more about how can we utilize these locations to bring preventative care front and center
Yep.
for our patients and families too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stats running around, and we've heard a lot of great stuff in the last couple of days of recording, but 40% of cancers can be cured or even stayed off by prevention.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, and I think, I was thinking about this while walking over. I feel like society is just becoming more and more educated
They are.
on health, right? I mean, we're seeing it in trends relative to lung cancer as a result of smoking. We're seeing all the articles about alcohol,
Yes.
and what it's showing to do to our bodies.
Absolutely.
And so, and we're seeing in the trends of decreases in consumption that the population is really taking those examples to heart.
Yep.
And how is that going to contribute to what we're trying to achieve here, which is to cure cancer?
Yeah, and Dr. Wu brought up how you guys even have a food center here.
Yes.
And a food kitchen, and I applaud you for that because I didn't know that going into this conversation, but I know how important food is, and I've strictly watched my diet and alcohol intake and everything else.
That's right.
For prevention.
Yep.
And long-term health. But I applaud you guys, and so obviously that's a big piece of what you do too.
Yeah, I was just reading about UPFs, ultra processed foods.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing what that list is.
Yeah.
Because it's in every cupboard at home, right?
Yeah.
It's in every
Ironically, I was reading about it
cabinets.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
I mean, even I hate to say it, but Kraft macaroni and cheese and these things that people have in their shelves, which are horrible for your
That's
body.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Toxic.
talk a lot about how can we, not to come across disrespectful in a sense, but how do we educate our patients?
Absolutely.
To be better patients, right? Because it's
They
always,
want to be. We have
it's
to
a
educate it.
50-50, it's
Absolutely.
a relationship.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Great
A lot of people for years have talked about how our industry is a reactive-based industry.
Right.
And we really want to be, and we want our patients to be more proactive. And that's where the prevention part of our mission comes into play.
Absolutely. And in the last minute or so, quick question. Crystal ball, proverbial crystal ball, what do you see as a strategy, capability, or shift that Moffitt can do or should do to navigate cancer care in 2 to 3 years from now?
Yeah, I think it's continuing to invest in these precision-based medicines. I really,
That's great.
from a layman perspective, a non-clinical perspective, the results have been amazing. And the progress that those researchers and clinicians have made investing in those types of treatments have just been, Dr. Hu, our CEO, will talk about it, in his podcast. The progress that we've made over the last 5-10 years is so much in contrast to what was done in the prior 20 or 30 years. And so you have to imagine that at Moffitt and other places like us, that research is going to continue, and we're just going to see leaps and bounds in terms of progress, combined again with the investment in education, right, in prevention, and educating our patients through things like virtual care, when to utilize us, can we bring chemotherapies into the home environment? So again, contributing to that access of care, which we're talking actively about as well. So as I think about it, as someone who's soon to be 50, I think about my parents who are in their late 70s and 80s now, but it's only going to get better for those of us that are at the ages where I am, assuming that we also do our part in taking care of
Yeah, I'm
ourselves
53,
too.
so I completely agree with you.
Yeah, right?
Completely agree with you.
Yeah, and I think you didn't ask, but the Cancer X part here is amazing.
Yes.
And we're working with a graduate group from the Cancer X pipeline last year. And I think that if I had to talk to the Cancer X participants, what I would say to them is, if you're going to work with a Moffitt, that's an academic, research-based teaching organization that provides amazing care. We're traditionalists. By nature, we don't move as fast as you do.
Right.
So what I would say to you is come prepared to help shore up some of those inefficiencies so that we can work together in a really fast, quick way and revolutionize and evolve, the level of care that we're able to provide now.
I love it. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Great.
you, man.
Thanks. Okay.